Hi, I wanted to do a really just quick, easy tutorial for black and white, changing your photos to black and white, the things that I would do and the things that I've learned about. Of course, there's way better tutorials online, but sometimes they're so fast and they're so complicated. I just wanted to try and make it, pretty simple for you. I kind of learned everything the hard way. I got my first photography teaching job having 2 classes worth of experience. It was nuts. I had to do tons and tons and tons of personal research just to even make lesson plans. All of my students were way more knowledgeable than I was, so that was, it was a rough year. But anyway, here I am, still doing this. So I want to go ahead and open up Photoshop. And just get, this is one of Belinda's pictures. She's the one that requested it. Alright, here we go. Close this and make this a little bit smaller so we can fit in everything. Hopefully you can see the toolbar at the top. Excuse me. Still fighting that spring cold. Alright, I can't get rid of that. I guess I'll just, maybe I'll make this bigger. There we go. Okay, good. Alright, so as soon as you open up your image, File, Open, you should be able to see your layers palette over at the right. And if you don't see it, it might just be, minimized. So this is what it looks like, 2 pieces of paper layered on top of each other, and then you can see it that way, or you can just open out all of these things. I usually keep the history closed while I'm editing. But this is a great place where the history is to see the actions that you've done. Because, say you do something that you don't like, maybe you do like 10 things that you don't like. Instead of going to File or going to Edit, Step Back, all of that over and over, you can just go back to the step where you were still happy. So there's several different ways to do that. Alright, so here we go. What we're going to do is I'll show you the different ways that you can make your image black and white, and some are good and some are bad. So, okay, first one is in image mode. Now, here we have grayscale. Okay, that sounds like that could be a thing, right? But if you do that, all your color information will be gone. And you can go back. But now, I just have this. I can't really play around with all the things in there. And the image kind of looks like low contrast and dull to me, to my eyes. Okay, so I'm going to undo. And I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments. And there's a couple ways you can do black and white in here. You can go to black and white. And with black and white, you get this slider menu, which is really fun. What you're basically doing is taking that color, that single color in your original color photo, and adjusting it. So you really can get a lot of fun play in there. And we're going to use that in just a minute. But I'm going to go back, and I'm going to try Image Adjustments and desaturate. That is the third way that I know how. I find it looks just like monochrome, except you still have your color information embedded into the file. Okay, so let me just show you real quick in the history. So see how I hit desaturate and I went File and go back? I can also just do this to go back. So once you get a whole bunch of things that you've done in here, it's a really easy way to just step back. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to create an adjustment layer down here. And one thing that I do, because sometimes this little lock here on your layer will stop you from doing certain things. So you just double click it. And usually all of these layer style things you're going to want to use for things like, you know, a document where you have, or a photo even, where you have words. And that works great for like, you know, if you're doing like a magazine, or, I mean, I guess all the things I used to do aren't really big anymore. Magazines are dying. Okay, so we're going to create, add on to this. And this little, looks like black and white. If we click that, no, that's not it. Whoops. It's down here. It's this one. Okay, so in this little menu here, we're adding a layer adjustment. And we're going to add that black and white layer adjustment. And that way we can make this little, click on this little eye, and whatever changes we have made will disappear. Hold on, I'm getting company. Okay, back again for a second. So here, just by clicking on that black and white layer and dragging this over, because it popped out to the side because my screen's kind of minimized, now I can play around with this. And the reds is just going to be such a huge difference. So I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but I like to just play around and see if I can get kind of a good basic balance here. And this is kind of like a tonal range. If you know what tones are in art, they're grays, all your gray values. And I don't think there are any blues or magentas except maybe in her skin. Okay, one more second. Okay, here we go with part 2. Things just happened there at school, as they often do. And I had to go supervise, and now it's pouring down rain, and and school's over. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. And alright, so I clicked on my adjustment layer here to get that little palette up, and I have adjusted the colors. Now, there are other things that you can do. You can also do things like levels. And levels is actually kind of fun. I like it. So in levels, this shows a picture of your histogram, and you can see it behind me up here as well. And that just shows where the most things are happening, I guess. So if this is the white end of the picture, there's no whites, no you know, straight whites. And there's really no straight black either. So we've got it on kind of like the dark end, is where the most darker shades are here, or values. And so we can play with these things. One of the things that you can do is you can use these little droppers to set your black point. You can set your white point. You can set your gray point. So with the black, say I wanted this part in her hair to be the darkest. Well, I wanted it to be my black point. So I'm asking levels to make that my dark point. Okay, now I am gonna, oops, play with this slider a little bit. Oh, did you see what just happened? Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, so now it's showing me where the straight blacks are. I can use the white point, and I can make, you know, this looks like the lightest point, her teeth. And I can play with these sliders now. See, there's like no white whites, but there are, those are the blackest blacks. Okay, so I can increase the blacks and make more dark shades in there if I want. I can bring back some of the whites, and now I have some really white whites in there. I can also play with this little slider here. So this is input, you know, that's like our histogram and what's in the photo itself. And then output, this would be like editing. So I can play with these things. I can make less blacks here, you know, kind of fade that out a little bit. I can make less whites here if you think you got, yeah, I like those white whites a lot. So these are little sliders. Sliders are so much fun to play with. I just adore them. Okay, so that's, you know, like getting deep into it, but I still think it's really fun. Really, really quick and easy. Let me just close out levels. We also have brightness contrast. You know about that already. Just by increasing the contrast, you know, we're going to get more depth, we're going to get more clarity. You can also go to your camera raw filter and oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So we're clicked on that brightness contrast level. We needed to be down here to use our camera raw filter. Yes, there it is. Okay, maybe I don't want to play with that, although I could just increase clarity, and that will increase clarity throughout. Okay, so see how things sharpen up? That's one of those things you don't want to go overboard with, because it'll eventually start to look nuts, like posterized almost. My one professor used to always recommend the number 9, but sometimes I go higher than that. Okay, so now we've got more clarity, and we can also just get rid of these things. We can see what it's going to look like without this layer. Without this layer. Whoa, that levels did a lot, didn't it? So you see how dull it looks now? Alright, so from the beginning, here's adding the black and white. So a lot of gray, right? The levels, ooh, we went to a dark, dark, darks and light, light, light. Now say you think that that's too much. You can decrease the opacity of the layer with this little slider. So remember that that is just a layer. Oh, I don't want to decrease that opacity. I just want to decrease the black and white, because that's the one that has the levels that are so strong. So maybe I could just adjust this a little bit. Ooh, you see how that's bringing in some of the color? Because now this layer is a little bit transparent. And I find that fun for this particular photo. It looks a little sepia. Oh my gosh, there's so many things you can do in here. So there's blending layers, you know. There's all kinds of things that you can do with all of these little buttons and menus, and it's just so fun. Another thing you can do is you can go up to Edit. You can undo, you can toggle, so kind of going back and forth with that. And then let's just look over here at our history, the history of the adjustments that we've made. Okay, so way down here, so I went back to this one. Do I want to go back to just this far? Do I want to go back this far? Do you see how I can go back to the beginning? Oh, wait a minute. Why isn't that working? You know what I hate? How every new version does different things. Okay, so there we see our before and after. So the little eyes on or off. Let's see what happens if we get rid of that. Oh, we got nothing. It's just, you know, they're layer adjustments, so it's going to affect the final outcome, but it's not going to show really as a separate picture. Okay, well, I hope all of that was helpful. Let's just try the real quick and easy way before we go. So you can choose to turn these on or off. If your file's getting too big and you want to save that Photoshop document to work on it later, you can also take a layer and drag it down into this little trash can. And it's gone. But we can also bring it back. Alright, let's try that really quick and easy way. Let's try image adjustments, and let's just try grayscale. So it warns you a couple times because, you know, ooh, danger. We don't want to get rid of it in the original. Okay, now just contrast. See, even just that little bit of playing around. So you can either get really specific with it and go crazy, or you can do those really short, easy, simple tricks. Okay, that's it for black and white, and I'll also share a couple of tutorials that get even deeper if you're like just really digging this like crazy and you want to go a little further into it. Those are the tricks that I know, and I know I don't know everything, of course, obviously, but those are the things that I do. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.